first. All right. Hi, this is Andrew Gumbs, Dr. Andrew Gumbs. We're recording another episode of our podcast, Artificial Intelligence and Cybersurgery. We're very pleased today to have Dr. Deepak Dube, but I will let my co-host, Dr. Vincent Grasso, introduce him a little bit more. But I do want to mention that the editor-in-chief of Artificial Intelligence Surgery, which is the first journal dedicated exclusively to artificial intelligence and surgery, which is why we like to have a lot of thought leaders that cross multiple disciplines, from surgery to computer science, machine learning, deep learning, what have you. So Vincent, take it away.
Sure. And hi, I'm Dr. Vincent Grasso. I'm the social media and strategy director for our journal. As Andrew said, it's the only journal dedicated to all things AI in surgery. You can find us at aisjournal.net. And I have the great privilege and pleasure of introducing Dr. Dube. We're all on first name basis during the conversation, but Deepak, you were actually the first guest that's not a surgeon on our podcast. And it's about, I think, the 15th or 16th. We'll get the numbers right one day. But, you know, one of what we're excited about is, as Andrew said, our journal is dedicated to all things AI. And whether it's machine learning or it's conversational computing or it's intelligent RPA, what have you, we are interested in all faces of AI that can bring value to our patients, whether it's in the preoperative experience, in the OR, or after the OR. And you and I have had a lot of conversations about healthcare and AI. So we're very excited to have you on. And if you don't mind just giving our audience just a brief introduction about yourself, which company you're at, you know, a little bit about your background, and then we can jump into some, you know, healthcare specific discussions. So pleasure. Sure. And thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Andrew. First off, it's a distinct honor to be in the company of great surgeons, Dr. Grasso and Dr. Gumbs. I don't get to talk to surgeons very often, so I'll be on my best behavior.
Without being safe, right?
Yeah. And so a little bit about myself. Let's see. When I did my PhD from Chicago, and then was a researcher at Bell Labs for a very long time. Then associated, and I've had the pleasure of interacting with Vincent, associated with IPSoft for, again, a very long time, which is hopefully going IPO this year. And where I now am at Datanomer/Eazyml, which is a machine learning platform, is a spin-off from IPSoft. What's Eazyml? Geez, man, there's so many ML platforms. You're adding another one to the crowd. Very good reason for that. Unfortunately, and I think Vincent alluded to, deep learning framework and complex models are legitimately needed to avoid model bias. And the challenge is this: they're opaque. And we can talk about what that means for the medical community at large and surgery in particular. Real drawback that has handicapped AI/ML in the enterprise at large, including medicine. So Eazyml was founded to make it a transparent AI/ML platform, hence its claim to success, fame, so to speak. That's me. Nothing eventful. That's my life summed up.
No, as I said, Andrew, Deepak's very modest.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you kind of opened up a lot of, I forget the cliche right now. You kind of lobbed a few bombs and you didn't let them explode.
Yeah.
So as a doctor who's very interested in artificial intelligence, I just finished a master's and I'm starting a PhD in the fall. Please enlighten, our viewers are mainly going to be residents and surgeons. Please enlighten us on some of the controversies, some of the concerns for us and for our field with these algorithms. I always mention to Vincent, these algorithms that look at giving home loans to people, and they turned out that the algorithms were, shockingly racist. So that's obviously just a little nugget. But can you tell us a little bit more about some of the concerns that you mentioned in the healthcare field that would help us understand AI?
Sure. So I'll since you guys are the experts, I'll keep bringing you in to help me develop the story and put me back on the rails if I derail. Look at clinical decision support systems, right? So just as a prelude to moving into surgery, CDSS, right? Plenty in the medical field, haven't been wildly popular. Why so? They're expert systems. A bunch of conditions are met. This outcome is fired.
What is CBSS?
CDSS, Clinical Decision Support Systems.
Okay.
Right. These are basically what they are, Andrew. Are so they're not in surgery, but what they are, and I'll draw parallels. So sorry, please bear with me. They're more into diagnostics, and I think Vincent would know well, where if these conditions are met, then that's the diagnosis, the diagnosis and the differential diagnosis, right? The challenge is this: it does not tell you how much trust to put in that diagnosis or the recommendation. See, the way humans invariably operate is we are not equally confident about everything we do. Medicine is such a complex science, and so many myriads ways in which it manifests, that sometimes we are dead sure, sometimes we're sure, sometimes and so we have ways to express that. Clinical decision support systems have to conform to that, to say, here's how confident I am. They don't, and that's one of the big reasons why it didn't take off. As if that's not bad enough, right? Now I'm going to draw a parallel to surgery, and so you guys would have to help me here. Hopefully the use cases are relevant for transparency. So for instance, let's say Andrew is busy working on a pancreatic cancer case, right? And unfortunately, things aren't going as planned. It happens, right? In real life, sorry, in real life, it happens. So now Andrew is thinking, geez, I'm sure there are other surgeons who have been in this position. What did those do who succeeded? And what should I not do for those who failed? Can I get that information right here, right now? And that's a massive database search exercise, although there is a lot of AI/ML because there isn't an exact match, right? And so out pops, oh, here's what Dr. Vincent Grasso did, and it worked. And Andrew takes a look at that and says, are you kidding me, man? He did this and it worked? Geez. Whoa, my goodness, should I do that? Are you sure? AWS SageMaker will be silent. Microsoft Power BI and Microsoft Azure Studio will be silent. Google AutoML will be silent. There is no confidence to believability associated with the piece of information and insight that is being shared with you. No answer to your question. That's where the trouble starts. So this AI/ML becomes an opaque science. It's like, well, just do this because I tell you to do it. Don't ask me questions. Is that believable? Is that trustworthy? Why did I come up with that? Blah, 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 blah. Just do it. Obviously, that's not how humans function, right? And that's the thing that's holding AI/ML back down, whether it's surgery or any of the other facets of enterprise AI/ML, because it's become opaque, and even more so with deep learning framework and other things, even more so. It's gone. And so there is a real concerted push to swing the pendulum the other way now, which is we will give up on accuracy and model bias just so that we can understand why is the model predicting the way it's predicting, so that we can relate to it, not following blindly. I need to be convinced. This is life and death on the table. That's the mission for Eazyml. Make these models that come up with really complex algorithms and come up with these recommendations, make them come alive and tell you why are they recommending, the reasons behind it, the confidence in those reasons, so that you can say, well, it's since Dr. Grasso did it, but the confidence assigned is 0.63, 63%. I don't know. What if that confidence score was 0.92? It's like, poof, what the heck, man, it worked. And 0.92 means it not only worked for Vincent, it worked for a whole bunch of others. Otherwise, the confidence score wouldn't be that. So guess what? I'm going to do this. That facility is absent today.
Well,
Thanks to this.
I know your head is spinning now, Andrew. I know.
No, because it's interesting because you have articulated something that we say all the time with medicine. We never, and you started by calling medicine a science, which is funny because as doctors we never call it a science, and we always call it the art of medicine. We specifically,
it's far too complex to be captured in a science. I understand.
Right. Exactly, and you've been articulating, that it's an art of medicine. It's the art of surgery, and these are going to be very difficult things for computer scientists to quantify because there is there's no linear connection to many of the problems that we encounter on a day-by-day basis. Not to say that AI can't overcome all of these things. I think it can, but it's going to have a different mindset, a different form. It's all these big investment firms that come into these healthcare environments and trying to make it profitable, trying to make money off of it, thinking that it's a science, thinking that it's a linear problem, and it's just not, as you articulated so beautifully.
So it's what's really interesting, it's always been interesting speaking with Deepak when I had the opportunity, Andrew, is, so the novice, the person that just jumps into AI and learns a little bit, and they say, oh, I can just go use this plugin on this cloud platform and my machine learning will figure it out, which is, a very superficial understanding of really the complexity that it is. And what Deepak has done is spend 20 years thinking through how to really create a platform that allows you to do the things that he's talking about. And what's really intriguing, because the conversation you and I had before about the new white paper you want to write, how do we get confidence intervals on what doctors are saying they know how to do? So a doctor in Rochester, New York says, oh, I found this makes a lot of sense, this worked for me. What's the confidence interval on that? What's the variables that we use to determine what, so think about a medical journal that's actually able to quantify these predictive values of what they're reporting, how valuable that would be. It's just an interesting time, and Illuminati's like Deepak that are deep in ML, they're very valuable for the surgical work we're all doing. You know, this is not amateur land time. This is time for really people that have the right credentials to help. And I'll close. Deepak, you and I have talked about making things equitable, because you know the medically underserved and economically disadvantaged are never going to sit at a table like us and talk about how to make AI equitable. And you know, we need, you know, this is a big topic and super exciting. So I'll stop, Andrew. You know, I'm sure you have some questions for Deepak.
Yeah, no, I'd just like to follow up on what Andrew and Vincent just said. So I'll start off by making a distinction. If you go in machine learning, the world of machine learning, and the underpinnings of it is in statistics and probability, you have lots of metrics, like you said, confidence intervals, kappa, root mean squared error, F statistics, lots of such defined for decades on the accuracy of your models. So again, I'll go back to Andrew operating a pancreatic case, and he's saying, oh, geez, you know, what the heck, this isn't going the way I planned. There are some things in here that I hadn't seen in my image, MRIs and other images. What the heck? Let me see what other surgeons did, which worked. And the machine's fully capable. These complex models will come back and say, with probability 0.92, this worked. Andrew was taking a look and saying, with probability 9.2, I should be stemming the, I should be removing this lump, even though there is, I'm no expert, but even though there is, every time I poke at a lump, the blood fuses out like anything, this guy will bleed to death. What do you mean I should poke again here and remove this? With probability 9.2, that's what I should do. No, geez, no, that's not what I'm seeing here. Every time I poke or try and remove, the blood's just gushing out. This guy will bleed to death. I'm not. Why do you say that? Why did that work? So notice the big distinction now. 0.92, lots of metrics and statistics and machine learning to say 0.92 is the accuracy with which you should do that. Now Andrew's gone to the second level. He's gone beyond this gate here to say, why do you say that? Give me the reasons behind it that I should poke and try and remove this. And the machine comes back with a bunch of reasons. Says, ultimately, even if the blood comes, I don't know, whatever, even if the blood comes out, don't worry, because it's just blood that's scooped up and it just comes out, and once it all eventually the bleeding will stop. So you don't have to get panicked because there's a lot of blood coming out. It's just the blood that's clumped up around it, whatever, right? And it comes up with a bunch of reasons.
Patient's got a good heart. We're just going to transfuse him. It'll be all right. Go for it.
That's right. That's right. It comes up with some reason that makes sense. And Andrew is taking a look and saying, I see why you suggest that, and you've given me the reasons for it. Okay. How confident are you in these reasons? No. That's a confidence score that you are asking, which is different than 0.92 for the prediction. Now you're asking the confidence in the reasons, not the confidence in the next step to do. You're asking for the confidence in the reasons that you're saying, well, the blood has got a strong heart and the blood is, a little bit is there. It will stop flowing out eventually, blah, blah. How confident are you in that reason? There is no measure in statistics or AIML for confidence of reasons.
And that's what
just imagine now, you're presented with a reason of why you should do something, but not the confidence. So if there was confidence of 0 means, don't trust this reason at all, man, right? This could backfire on you big time, right? Confidence of 1 mean, trust your life with it, 7 × 24, it always works. This is set of reasons always hold true. And all shades of gray in between, more likely the case. So if the confidence of that reason that patient's got a strong heart, or this just some blood will come out eventually sees is 0.17, Andrew will have second thoughts on going ahead with that. Hey, let's try and remove this clump. If the confidence of reasons is 0.78, he's going to say, well, it's reasonably confident. This has been vetted. These reasons make sense based on the data. 0.78. You know what? 0.92 accuracy of prediction. Remove that. 0.78, the reasons behind it, and both of them make sense. I'm going to go for it. Just look at the difference in the outcome, and who knows, as a result of it, this art of medicine may actually end up saving that patient's life on the operating table.
That's a really very clear and succinct discussion on that topic, Deepak. Thank you. So Andrew, so how exciting is that?
Do we have a computer fast enough to go through all of this while my patient's bleeding as I'm trying to peel a tumor off the superior mesenteric vein? Do we need a quantum computer to accomplish this, Vincent?
Right, Deepak, these are interesting questions, right, Deepak? Because sometimes we're in a real-time business, and you've got to, access the crunch somewhere, and so that I'm sure within 10 years a lot of the hardware stuff gets figured out, but now we have the ability of at least playing both sides with predictive and confidence intervals with platforms like you build. So, time to do a little pilot, Andrew, on some of this ML, insight that Deepak has. This would be an interesting paper, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I would love to, just thinking about it, just like you said, how fantastic it would be to have a computerized advisor, especially in the beginning of your career, where you could just verbally say, oh, I've encountered this. I have bleeding from the superior mesenteric vein in this patient, or from the splenic vein. Can I just tie it off in this patient? And it can, can maybe even analyze the scans for you and tell you. It would be great if we had this. And maybe instead of me focusing on autonomous action so much, that's what my personal interest is robotic, autonomous actions of a robot during surgery. But wouldn't it be nice if we could even, maybe this is actually a first step that we should put much more energy in, is just being able to decide what to do, even in real time, to tell a surgeon. That never even,
exactly.
I've never even thought of that as, it's this type of thing you see in Star Trek all the time.
Yeah.
But that would be maybe something I could actually see in my lifetime.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's at scale to the point you make, Andrew, and a really good point. Even if it's robotic surgery, that's the arms. There's got to be a brain that's guiding these arms, and that brain could be just that. Of at this particular step, this is what we are seeing, and that's the best outcome with the highest probability. And these are the reasons behind it. Let me run the reasons behind it with Andrew, so that as he operates the robotic arm or lets the robotic arm go ahead and do some things autonomously, he at least concurs. Because ultimately Andrew's responsible. You don't fire the robotic arm. And so all that stuff.
They're going to work in tandem. We have to do them at the same time, right? The actual robot moving and the actual decision making.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yes. So as the robot movements and what it does is as good as what the brain's telling it to do. And that's where it comes in terms of a transparent machine learning.
Well, we're going to, as our time is coming to an end, and we know your time is precious, but we are working on a white paper that is going to discuss a lot of these issues, and hopefully we could include you. We would love to have you as one of the authors, because I think you're going to be able to help us formulate the questions we want to ask our editorial board. We're going to do like a survey and responses to several questions, many questions that we're going to develop on these topics, on really how artificial intelligence can be the great equalizer throughout the world, for the developing world, for female surgeons, for minorities and in impoverished societies and throughout the world, but also the intricacies of decision making, of problems with algorithms, with concerns that we as surgeons should be formulating with the computer scientists at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, a brilliant point. That I know both of you are champions of equitable health. I mean, this is fundamental right of humans, right?
Yeah.
Basic human necessity. And so there are, you know better than I do, there are many parts in the world where you don't have a clinic within 50-mile radius, let alone a surgeon.
Yeah.
If you even have a surgeon in the country who can do
Yeah.
such things.
Absolutely.
And so just imagine if the robotic arm is feeding off of this intelligent machine that keeps feeding it the probability with which it is giving you these feeds and saying, do this, do this, do this, do this. I'm seeing what you're doing now. Next step is this with this probability. I'm giving you the highest probabilities. All of a sudden, it's accessible to the globe at large. I'd love to participate in that white paper. Thank you.
You know, that just reminds me, there's a company called Proximy that basically enables a more experienced surgeon to call in to another surgeon, and they're able to discuss what to do for difficult parts of surgery. But the limiting factor for that is that the other more experienced surgeon loses an incredible amount of time helping another surgeon through the surgery. So, you know, what you're describing, where we can actually automate, you know, give the advice autonomously, would really be an innovation. So
and you know, all of us as humans have biases, which means not always are our decisions objectively optimum. That is the beauty of data.
yeah.
If you can mine it in an unbiased, comprehensive way, then it will tell you objectively what the best next step is based on all the historical evidence that it has been fed. And therefore you have hopefully a better chance of a outcome that's desirable.
That's the most exciting part of all of this, right? The purity of the data. I mean, for me, it's
that's right.
The closest thing that we can get to perfection or godliness, if you will. You know, that's really what I think excites all of us about artificial intelligence, right? To get to the truth.
That's right. That's right. It's an unbiased observer. I'll tell you like it is.
Yeah.
Do whatever you feel like, but this is what the data is telling. And data doesn't lie. There are biases in it. You have to be careful. It's not as if you can just use it and say, well, I got misled. Yes, there are chances. If those 0.92, 0.78, your data itself was biased on which these decisions from, plenty of chances that will allow you to shoot yourself in the foot. And that's why you need stringent quality gates to say, I must pass these before I take this data as gospel and make decisions based on it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So Vincent, you wanna close off the podcast for us?
Sure. And I think we'll have Deepak back on, as you can tell, Andrew.
Absolutely.
We've opened up the box of opportunities. Deepak, thanks very much.
That's the cliche I was looking for.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for that.
We'll talk soon.
I'll a better Saturday morning. Thanks much.
We'll follow up soon. I'll be in touch.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Andrew. Take care.
Bye, Vincent.
Bye-bye.